Nobody prepared us for the chapter that 2026 decided to write for Shen Yue and Dylan Wang. What started as one of the most quietly adored love stories in Chinese entertainment, two co-stars who fell for each other the way only people who spend months pretending to be in love actually can, has now taken a turn so heavy, so layered, that even the most devoted fans are struggling to keep up. And right at the center of it all, doing what families do when things get too big for one person to carry alone, Shen Yue's family has reportedly stepped in. Let that sit for a moment. Because when family steps in, it means something. It means this stopped being just a rumor a long time ago. It means the people who knew Shen Yue before she was ever a name on a screen, before the fans, before the fame, before Dylan Wang looked at her the way he did in every behind-the-scenes clip that broke the internet, those people saw enough to act. And in a situation this public, that kind of private intervention says more than any statement from any agency ever could. If you're new here and you care about the real stories behind the headlines, hit subscribe right now. We cover this the way it deserves to be covered. Now let's get into what's actually being said, what it means, and why Shen Yue's family stepping into this moment might be the most important development in this entire story so far. Because while the world was busy watching press releases and parsing social media silences, the people closest to her were apparently doing something far more grounded. They were showing up. The timeline of everything that has unfolded between Shen Yue and Dylan Wang in recent months reads like something written for drama, except none of it was scripted. There were the shared moments that fans held on to like proof of something real. There was the warmth that came through even in the most controlled public appearances. There were the whispers, then the louder whispers, then the kind of noise that no amount of careful silence can actually quiet. And then came the reports, the ones that shifted the entire tone of how people were talking about this relationship. And suddenly what felt like a love story the whole internet had a stake in started to feel like something much more private, much more painful, and much more complicated than any of us had access to. That is the moment, according to reports, when Shen Yue's family decided they had seen enough from the outside and needed to be present on the inside. And the reason this matters, the reason people who follow Shen Yue closely are treating this as significant rather than just another piece of gossip, is because of who Shen Yue is as a person. She is not someone who asks for help easily. She is not someone who lets the weight show until it becomes impossible to hide. So, if the people who raised her felt the need to step in, you have to ask yourself what they were seeing that the rest of us weren't. There is something deeply human about this part of the story that tends to get lost in the noise of celebrity coverage. We talk about these situations in terms of timelines and statements and confirmed or denied rumors. We treat public figures like they exist in a kind of suspended space where normal things, family concern, private grief, the slow process of figuring out what you actually want your life to look like, don't quite apply. But Shen Yue has always resisted that kind of flattening. Even at the height of her fame, even when the attention around her and Dylan Wang reached the kind of fever pitch that makes ordinary life feel impossible, she has moved through it with a groundedness that her fans have always recognized and respected. And that groundedness, many believe, comes from exactly the kind of family that reportedly steps in when things get hard. What the reports describe is not intervention in any dramatic or confrontational sense. It is not the kind of family involvement that becomes its own story. It is quieter than that, and in some ways more powerful because of its quietness. It is the kind of presence that says, you don't have to navigate this alone, and you don't have to perform strength you aren't feeling right now. It is family doing what family is supposed to do, which is close the distance between where you are and where you need to be, not with noise but with proximity. For Dylan Wang's part, the weight of what has reportedly unfolded is not invisible either. There is something in the way this story has developed publicly that suggests two people who genuinely cared about each other arriving at a place neither of them fully anticipated. The love that fans saw, and it was real enough that even the most skeptical observers had a hard time dismissing it entirely, does not simply evaporate. It transforms, sometimes into something that can be rebuilt, sometimes into something that has to be released. And right now, nobody on the outside has enough information to know which of those is true for Shen Yue and Dylan Wang. What we do know is that Shen Yue is not facing whatever this is without the people who matter most to her. And that changes the texture of the story in a way that matters. Because there is a version of this narrative where she is alone with the weight of it, sorting through the public dimensions of something deeply private, trying to figure out what to feel while the whole internet has opinions about her life. That version is painful to think about. The version where her family steps in, where she is surrounded by people who knew her before any of this, is different. It is still hard, but it is the kind of hard that people can actually move through. Fans who have followed Shen Yue from her earliest work will understand exactly why this detail feels significant. She has spoken before, in interviews and in the rare, unguarded moments that make people love her, about the importance of staying connected to where she came from, about not letting fame rewrite who she is at the core. The family that reportedly showed up for her in this situation is the same family that shaped all of that. And their presence now is, in its own quiet way, a form of continuity. A reminder that no matter how large and public a person's life becomes, there are still people in it who see just them. This is a story still unfolding. The full picture of what Shen Yue is navigating, what her family's involvement means for the path forward, and where things stand between her and Dylan Wang is not something anyone outside of their immediate circle can claim to know with certainty.